Well, the Broncos and the Avalanche sit in first place in their respective divisions on November 12th for the first time since 2009. And the Nuggets, well, they're not too far behind, just 2 games back in the Western Conference. Today, we ask the question, who has the best chance at winning a championship out of our Denver sports teams? Welcome into the DNVR, the Denver Sports Podcast. Christian Saez, RK, Spence hanging out with us. Welcome in, guys. Glad to have you.
Great to be here. So wait, there's someone that's undefeated in the Western Conference?
Is that what I said?
No, the Thunder 9-1.
Yeah, they got one win. They got one win.
So
yeah, 2 games up. Yeah. It's a blessing of riches that we find ourselves with here in Colorado. We've got 3 teams in a championship window. And I feel like we've had this conversation over the last couple years because it's not like this is the first time that these 3 teams have been good. But the Broncos making that extra step to being not only just like, oh, they're a playoff team possibly this year like they were last year. It's like, no, the Broncos are 8-2, one of the best teams record-wise in the NFL. So it bodes the question, which team has the best chance at winning a championship? And I got to say, this question, when we were thinking about it, is a lot harder, at least from my perspective, than I actually thought it was going to be. I'm pretty torn. I'm kind of split down the middle on this one.
Yeah, and like I told you guys off camera, I'm not going to have an answer, I don't think. Like, gun to my head, I maybe could give out an answer. I am going to talk myself in and out of all 3 teams. But just the fact that we're having this conversation with actual validity behind it and not just being like, oh, it's homers again talking about their teams winning championship. Like, these teams are all legit have a shot to have. We could have a threesome parade, a tri parade, and then I may just be able to die as a Denver sports fan. I don't think anything would ever even remotely come close to that in the rest of my life. Maybe if our Rocks Christian can get a World Series, that parade can just be its own thing in 40 years, and then we just like love it. But right now, the thought of it and the fact that it's valid and this podcast is like a legit question is awesome.
Have we ever even had a 3 teams in the same city winning a championship? Has that ever happened in the history of sports? Man. I know we've had a couple too.
I mean, the best I could imagine would have been the Patriots, the Celtics, and the Red Sox. Could have been close. Like, they were all good at very similar times, but I doubt it's happened.
Yeah, it can't have happened. That would be historic in so many ways. Hell, I mean, winning 1 championship is big enough, let alone having 2 teams that are contenders. We did put up a poll on DNVR Sports on Twitter. Alyssa, if you want to throw that poll up there. We gave the fans a chance to kind of vote on this. And after just about 813 votes, it was a relatively tight race. The Nuggets kind of edged their way out with 46.9% of the votes. Avalanche shortly behind, 39.6%, and then the Broncos at 13.5%, which, to be honest, and we'll talk about the Broncos later in the show specifically, but I was actually surprised that the Broncos got as many votes as they did, just because it's no disrespect to the Broncos. I just think the Avs and the Nuggets are on a different level of good this season.
And real quick, to go back to what we were just talking about and how great it is, like, I said it after one of the many MVPs that happened recently. Like, we are in the golden age. Mm-hmm. This is the golden age of Denver sports. We had, 3 NBA MVPs, a finals MVP. We had Nathan McKinnon winning the Hart. We had Travis Hunter winning the Heisman. Like, it'll very likely never be this good again in terms of the elite talent that we have here. So I just want everyone to make sure you're, like, soaking it in and appreciating what's happening, because there's been many years where only one of the teams was any good.
Yeah, like I mean, you know Sawyer very well, my son. I don't want him to grow up at all, but I want him to be like 7 or 8 right now, where I could be like, dude, you do not understand what this is. This is like, he goes to every game with us and just like, we just blow him out. And he's like, oh, this is normal. Like, oh, Broncos win, like Nuggets win, Avs win. And I'm like, dude, this is not normal.
And yet somehow he likes the Rockies more than all of those teams.
Yeah, I don't understand.
That's your fault. You put a curse on
I did.
that poor
I
child.
did.
But see, he'll get to grow up, and maybe one day the Rockies will be a little bit better, and he'll
The
change what they
Rockies,
do.
I mean, were my favorite team when I was young too, at least for a period of time. So I think it's because I loved that they had the most games.
Well, and also you go back, and I don't want to go kind of too big picture here, but you go back to these teams before when we were all growing up. The Nuggets had some really down years. The Avs, I mean, one of the worst teams in the NHL not too long ago. And I think I was talking about this last year when we were doing a TDS piece, similar topic to this, where I was saying, you forget that just a handful of years ago, some of these teams were completely the opposite. Again, the Nuggets and the Avs were not good just 5, 6, 7 years ago. And so to have them make the change over this last half decade or so to not just being good again and being relevant again, but being legitimate championship contenders is just insane. It gives me hope again as a Rockies fan that like one day they'll figure it out. It takes a lot of change for that to happen before that happens. But
So I think I'm the most confident in the answer to this. And so
I'm split.
I want to talk you guys through what my thought process and see if that sways you one way or another.
Let's do it.
So I want to start here. And if you want to ask like who's the opponent or whatever, go ahead. But I think the answer is pretty clear, so I'll ask you it this way. If there's a game tonight, all three of these teams are playing, which one are you most confident is going to win?
The Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, Nuggets.
Why?
And that's, I think, and this is the point I was going to make because I kind of want to make our cases here. I'm going with the Nuggets as well. Similar reasoning for you, but I think the Nuggets, for me, the biggest thing for them is they're a team that doesn't rely on hope. They have depth. It's not just Jokic and we're hoping that other guys are stepping up. It's like, no. If someone else has an off night, you've got a bench that now can back you up that you didn't have in the years prior. The Nuggets feel like they have the pieces of a complete team. And yes, I think the Avs on paper, they lead the NHL in points. I actually think from a depth perspective, the Avs have more talent. I mean, you've got, 2 or 3 of the best players in all of the NHL. But there are still flaws within the Avs that I think make me scratch my head a little bit more. That I think come playoffs, the Avs rely a little bit more on some of the hope to get over those humps. I think the Nuggets are just as complete a team as I've ever seen them.
Yeah, to me, it comes down to why we feel the most confident that they're going to win. And it's obviously because of Nikola Jokic.
Yep.
And AJ said it in the comments earlier, and it's no surprise because we're usually on the same page about this stuff. But it really comes down to the sport more than anything for me. Mm-hmm. The sport of basketball can be most impacted by greatness, in my opinion. And football would be right there if you had that greatness at quarterback, which the Broncos don't quite have yet.
Yeah.
So the fact that basketball, you have 5 players on the court at a time, you normally have your best player on the court for most of the game, and the Nuggets have the best player in the sport. To me, just makes it like the logical decision of, hey, when it comes down to it, I'm always going to be most confident in the Nuggets during the Jokic era because he's going to control every single game and he's going to have the Nuggets playing the way that they want to play and the way that he wants them to play night in, night out. And there's so little room for other factors to come into it. As amazing as Nathan McKinnon is, it's hard for him to control an entire hockey game because the sport just doesn't allow for it. So Jokic is just able to go in there, play, upwards, depending on how important the game is, 40 plus minutes a night and just control what's happening the entire time.
Yeah, he's got basically the entire game revolves around him. And like you said, Nathan McKinnon can play. I mean, Kale and Nate play 20 to 25 minutes a game. That's not even half the game, where the other half of the time. And if you look at last year, the Avs probably should have won the Stanley Cup. Part of my reasoning on this too is where like Avs are number 3 for me right now, is the randomness of hockey. I think we saw it in the comments, but like last year, say the puck doesn't go off Sam Girard's skate into our goal off Mikko Rantanen, the Avs probably win that game and they maybe win the Stanley Cup. Like literally one little thing like that. And yes, you could look at like the Aaron Gordon shot that went in last year in the playoffs and think that maybe the Nuggets don't make it that far. But hockey has these random bounces in the playoffs that you can't control. And that's like there's less control in hockey than basketball.
Only one of these sports where the ball is a sphere.
Yeah,
You can predict which way it's going to bounce.
Yep.
You're not wrong. And AJ makes another great point. If the question is which team is the best relative to their competition, it's the Avs. But winning a championship, Nuggets it is. 100%. I think hockey, we were actually talking about this before we jumped on the show. Hockey and baseball are two of the most unpredictable playoff sports out of any sport that you can think of, because there's just so many different variables in both of those two sports. You know, hockey, like you said, it's just, there's so many things that are hard to predict, that are hard to control. You have to have an A+ effort from the guy in the net. You've got to have everyone working within a power play on the same page. There's just so many different variables within that, you know, penalties and all of those kind of things. With basketball, it's a little bit more controlled. It ebbs and flows. You know, I mean, there's more of a slower arc. It's not like, you know, within seconds, the fate of the game is just flipped upside down like you see in baseball and hockey. And I think that for the Nuggets, that bodes in their favor, having the complete team that they have.
Yeah, and I'll actually kind of flip this pod upside down. And the more I think about it, the more I'm actually leaning towards the Denver Broncos. And
Above everyone?
yes, the Denver Broncos number one. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Okay, the Broncos have the one thing the Broncos don't have going for them in history, or as of the last 5 years, that the Nuggets and Avs do, is they haven't done it. So that kind of gives me a lot of pause. Like, you know, Nikola Jokic knows how to win a title. He literally just did it. You know, Nathan McKinnon and the Avs know how to win a title. They just did it. But let me talk you into the Denver Broncos, because if the Broncos make the playoffs and let's say some things work out right in their next couple of weeks and they get the 1 seed, they have to win 3 games. Yep. That is it. And he's an arrogant asshole. He is a dick to the media. But Sean Payton is still Sean Payton. And if the more I watch the NFL and the older I get, the more I realize, like, coaching does matter, especially in the NFL. And the Broncos have one of the most just intelligent, and, like, I wouldn't be surprised, this is me being a homer, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sean Payton last week, you know, we're all in the moment of the Broncos barely beating the Raiders, right? I wouldn't be surprised if he threw his actual game plans out the window and was like, okay, let's just try to win this game by 3 and move on. And then this weekend they play the Chiefs and there's 20 different plays we've never seen. And going into the playoffs, they get a bye. Let's say they get a bye week, and then teams come here to play in the playoffs, very tough. And Sean Payton just throws out these game plans that no one's ever seen and gets the offense cooking. They could win the Super Bowl. And not even mentioning, they have the best defense that not we've ever seen. Like 2015, 2025 are pretty close, but any other city other than the 2015 Broncos, maybe the 85 Bears, like, this defense is that good.
Yeah, so it's really, really, really hard for me to get anywhere near that, because I think of the quarterback position and the fact that you look at who's won the Super Bowl over the last, I don't know, you go probably back 30 years, and almost every time there's an elite quarterback leading that team. Now, here's where I think there's a little bit of juice to your point. One is the path, like you mentioned. And I would love if we could do this again next week, because if the Broncos beat the Chiefs, they have the inside track to winning the division and potentially getting the number 1 seed. If you get the number 1 seed, like you said, you've got to win 2 home games and then the Super Bowl. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
2 home games with the best defense in football, and then the Super Bowl. Not as to say that's easy. It's a very different than having to go in a 7-game series in a sport like hockey where the puck could bounce anyway. It's a lot easier than having to go into playoffs with the Nuggets, where you're very likely going to have to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are incredibly deep and scary. The AFC, as of right now, especially if the Broncos were able to knock off the Chiefs this week, the AFC doesn't have any teams that scare you at all, like Oklahoma City would. So I'm not there yet, but it is a crazy path if you're able to get this win this week.
The fact that it feels possible, I think that's where we keep going back to, is the fact that it feels possible at this point, you know, where you're not having to, it feels like you're not having to try to string things together too much. You say, okay, if the Broncos beat the Chiefs, which it feels like a winnable game. Yes, it's a challenge. They're going to be going up against a good team, but it's the 5-4 Chiefs. Like, this is a game that the Broncos on paper should be able to win. It doesn't feel far-fetched to say on paper that they could find a way to work it out. I just think the issue with the Broncos, and again, we'll talk more about them as the show goes on, is the fact that it's kind of a 50-50 coin flip of what version of the Broncos you're going to get right now based on what we've seen. Are we going to get the Broncos that steamroll the Dallas Cowboys? Or are you going to get the Broncos that barely beat the Jets? Like that's where I think the concern comes in. But I want to go back to a point that Spencer made real quick, and maybe we'll go to break with this and let Spencer kind of respond to this after the break. But Spencer, you tweeted a couple days ago that you believe this Nuggets team will beat the 2012 and 2013 record of 38-3 at Ball Arena. I want to know after the break if you still believe that and if you think that can lead to a championship. We'll talk about that coming up in just a moment. I want to give a huge shout out to our friends right now over at Brunt Workwear because winter's coming up, and if you do any work around the house, maybe outside, maybe you do some work on a farm or you just like to get outside, well, you've got to check out Brunt's new work boots because their work boots are built for the toughest job sites. They're completely waterproof, so whether it's rain, mud, snow, standing water, you can be sure that they're going to protect your feet. And I got to say, there's nothing worse than having cold feet, cold, wet feet when you're trying to do anything productive. And even if you're not working in construction, maybe you just are trying to do some work around the house. You know, you're going outside and you're shoveling snow. You got to have some good shoes. You got to have good shoes that you can rely on. Brunt Workwear, they have the best work boots in the market. They offer a full range of high performance gear aside from their work boots, but I can't say enough good things about their work boots. They've got that 6-inch soft toe that's built for workers across a variety of different trades. It's the best boots on the planet. I had said yesterday when I was talking about them on our Rockies show, I went hunting over the weekend and used the Brunt work boots, and I can't say enough good things. I mean, it's truly one of the best boots that you can possibly put on. So with temps dropping and the holidays coming up, it's time to treat yourself or the hardworking man in your life to real comfort. Skip the throwaway gifts and get him something built to last. Brunt Workwear. Our listeners get $10 off their entire order using code DNVR at checkout. That's bruntworkwear.com. Use code DNVR. Order today and let them know you heard it right here on the Denver Sports Podcast. Also want to give a huge shout out to our friends over at Toyota. Toyota is the official vehicle of DNVR, and I feel like the official vehicle of this podcast because I drive a Toyota, podcast. You drive a Toyota. I mean, it's like we all drive Toyotas. I can't say enough good things about Toyota. I just got the new 2024 RAV4. I know, does Allie drive a RAV4 as well?
So does Ryan. Yes.
And so you do too.
Yes.
It was meant to be a Toyota show through and through. Toyota is incredible. I mean, there's a reason that not only do all three of us own Toyotas here, but everyone in my family owns a Toyota. You go outside and you see everyone on the streets, it feels like, owns a Toyota. It's a car that's built to last. Toyotas last forever. My Toyota Highlander that I just sold, 250,000 plus miles, and I could probably get another 100,000 miles out of it because it's just that good of a car. They're easy to work on. They're easy to upkeep. They're just great cars, and there's so many different choices with Toyota. You can go with the all-wheel drive option. You can go the hybrid option. You can go more of the sporty sedan look. They have so many different choices, including their trucks, which we actually, Spencer drives or sometimes I should say, gets to drive the custom DNVR Toyota Tundra. That thing is an absolute beast. So if you're in the market to go get yourself a brand new Toyota, visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson's Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson's Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is the official vehicle of DNVR. All right, Spencer, I said it before the break. You claimed that this Nuggets team will beat the 2012-2013 record of 38-3 at Ball Arena. You still stand on that?
100%. I think this is a 39-2 record at the end of the season. Obviously, we see how good they are away from Ball Arena, but when you get to Ball Arena and see, I've been to, I think, 4 games this year already, and just how dominant they are and how the depth that they've added, and the fact that, like, when that home crowd gets a pop, like, yes, Steph Curry didn't play in the Warriors game last Friday, but I go to those games and it feels very 2013 Nuggets, but also 2013-14 Broncos, where I go to every Nuggets game with my kid or my wife, and I'm like, it's not how we're going to win. It's not if we're going to win. It's like, are we going to win by 10? Are we going to win by 20? Are we going to win by 30? And it's just that feeling is so... I don't see how they lose 3 games. And it's we're only 10 games in now, so it's a smaller sample size, but we haven't seen the 2 losses this year were both pretty controversial. One was controversial, and the other one was Steph Curry making a 40-footer. That's going to happen to you over an 81-game season, but they don't have that look in their eye like last year where it's like, oh, it's the Wizards on a Tuesday at home. We might lose this game. I honestly, that doesn't even cross my mind at this point. Like, they may win, I think they're going to win 39 or 40 games. It'd be crazy. They're not going to go undefeated. They'll lose a game here or there. You never know when it's going to be, but that 2012, 2013 year was the first year I had Nuggets season tickets. And I was like, oh my God, they just win every game I go to. Like,
You were like Sawyer.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they just win every time I'm here. And then I was sitting in the seats and saw Gallo tear his ACL. And then we know what happened the last 12 years up until that. And a major low point for the Nuggets. And now there's the highest of highs for ever since they drafted Nikola Jokic essentially and let him play. But yeah, I truly think this will be the best home season the Nuggets have ever had.
Yeah, I can't see a reason to argue with you on that. I mean, it's just everything just feels complete with the Nuggets. And I wanted to kind of segue into this next question that I had to ask, which is, what's standing in the way of each team winning a championship? Okay, we talked a little bit about it with the Broncos. The Broncos, you believe it's the quarterback situation. If the Broncos don't make it to the Super Bowl, or let's just say lose the Super Bowl, it's because of the quarterbacking situation. What about the Nuggets? If the Nuggets don't accomplish a championship this year, why would that be?
Well, really quick, and just to expand on that with the Broncos, it's not that I don't believe in Bo or that I don't think that he can be the guy. It's just like if they went up against Josh Allen in the playoffs and he made 3 insane plays that, that defense had no chance on or whatever, and the Broncos lost, it wouldn't shock anyone. As for the Nuggets, there is nothing that has anything to do with them that is standing in their way. I really just think it's the Thunder that are standing in their way of winning a championship. And I think the Nuggets should have beat the Thunder in 5 games last year. So, I don't think it's an insane challenge, but I do think that that is a team coming off a championship that has all the pieces, all the depth. They're just a really great basketball team. I think that's the biggest thing standing in their way. It used to be the depth. That's not a problem anymore. The second unit, that's not a problem anymore. I think that's the only thing standing in their way.
I think the Nuggets, to me right now, and like I said, early sample size, their 3-point shooting has got to get better. Because like you said, the Nuggets, we were in Mexico for your wedding watching the Nuggets game against the Thunder where they scored 12 points in the first quarter, couldn't buy a bucket. And I'm not saying this is a different team, obviously much better team this year. We've got Tim Hardaway Jr. coming off the bench, got Bruce Brown back. But there have been, even in this season, in these their struggles are very first world problem struggles. But they haven't been able to shoot the ball that well from 3. And that can kill you if you get into in the playoffs, the game's tight and you just need one open 3. Do you trust Christian Brown to hit it? No. Do you trust Cam Johnson to hit it? Probably not. Do you trust Aaron Gordon a lot more? Yes. But there's a few guys on this team that, especially, Cam Johnson's struggles have been obviously offensively. He's playing great defense, but I think the ability to hit the 3 and the ability to consistently shoot the 3 is their only chink in their armor right now.
Yeah, and look, AJ had said it earlier. I do think the competition for the Nuggets is tighter than what we see for the Avs. The Avs feel like they have a little more breathing room from a competition standpoint, from a team standpoint. Yeah, they're up there with the Stars and whatnot, but it does feel like the Thunder kind of pose the biggest threat to the Nuggets. Obviously, injuries are always the biggest threat to a championship run for any team, but that's an easy answer. But I agree with you on the shooting, man. You gotta have offensive depth, and that's just something that the Nuggets, if there's one thing you can say that you can be critical of so far, it's just been their depth offensively at times. Yes, you've got Jokic who can score at any point on the floor and at any time, and that is the ultimate equalizer. But come playoffs, you just need everyone firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I mean that's the beautiful thing about basketball is I think it was Adam who called it pumpkin time. All of your role players and all these guys, the Tim Hardaway Jr.'s, not to single him out, but can hit those big shots in the regular season in the fourth quarter. When you get down into the playoffs, you don't have that. But that's where I think the Nuggets have an advantage, where they have 2 absolute dogs in the playoffs when it comes to scoring in big moments. And Aaron Gordon has that third potential guy who could be taking his game to the next level as well. So I don't know. I really have no worries about the Nuggets offense, defense, anything.
Yeah, and they've just gotten out to such a hot start. Still, no Colorado or no Denver-based team has lost at home in regulation. That's still correct, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And that's where I think like whoever we're talking about winning this thing is going to get home court advantage, home field advantage, home ice advantage.
Yeah.
All three different terms. Yeah. But that to me is a big key to this. Like there's been times in the past where people have talked about the Nuggets specifically and been like, oh, like doesn't really matter what seed they get. Like NBA regular season isn't, all that. You just, get in the right side of the top 4 and you'll be fine. I don't believe in that anymore.
No,
like, you got to get 4 home games against the Thunder.
Yeah, and I definitely don't believe in that with the Nuggets anymore. The Avs are the way hockey is structured is just such an interesting dilemma because as Azure Sky says, Avs winning the President's Cup and the Cup. I'd actually prefer the Avs to not win the President's Cup, and that seems to be every year the team that just and that's what worries me about the Avs right now. Like, do I want them to lose every night that I watch? No, but this is going to sound like a crazy take, but I want them to have a 10-day to 2 week stretch this season where they go like 2-6 and just like look bad. Because honestly, if they like look at how good Winnipeg was last year.
Yeah.
Absolutely breezed their way through the whole regular season, just dominating everyone. Set the Avs up in a terrible spot to have to go to Dallas as the 3 seed of the division.
Yeah.
And then Winnipeg loses in the first round. Like, I'm not saying that the Avs are on that track, but it actually worries me a lot more if the Avs just continuously do this all season long. I'm actually much more scared than I would be if the Nuggets continue to do this or if the Broncos continue to do this. If either of those two teams, if they just continue cooking, like Broncos are close enough to the playoffs now where they could ride this momentum theoretically through February. Avs and Nuggets are going to have some downturns, but I actually am like welcoming that at this point.
The only thing I'll push back on is like the Avs have been there, done that. And I think like a team like Winnipeg hadn't. And so like you get there and you get to the playoffs and all of a sudden the intensity's turned up and you have pressure on you because you were so good in the regular season. I just don't think that that's going to happen to these Avs. So I don't worry about that with them either. I just want the home ice.
Yeah, and I do think the Avs.
How many times do we go into a game 7?
Yeah.
It feels like every year now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just think the Avs also have that chip on their shoulder now. The last couple of years have been insanely frustrating for the Avs where you've had all the pieces by all means. I think, again, we did this show, I'm pretty sure last year, and I think the consensus was the Avs, that the Avs were going to be the one that had the best chance at winning a championship last year because you have all those pieces. And then time and time again, you've gotten into the playoffs, you got into the second round of the playoffs, and you just can't find a way to get it done. And it felt like it was right in front of you last year. So with the return of, with the return of Landeskog last year and all the storylines that happened and all of that leading to just end up in elimination, I feel like they're going to be playing with a different type of intensity. The Nuggets, yes, they have it, but I feel like the Nuggets have like a more kind of calm, relaxed, just confident approach to this. I feel like the Avs are going to get into the playoffs with this like chip on their shoulder. Like, we got to go prove someone wrong now because we've let this city down for the last 2 years.
Well, yeah, and they say like teams either take on the personality of their coach or their best player. The Nuggets certainly have the personality of Jokic.
Yeah, 100%.
Calm and collected. And I think the Avs have the personality of Nathan McKinnon. Mm-hmm. Intense, like fast, like that. So I'm with you on that. I think, I don't know. It's weird. It reminds me of the entire Peyton Manning era for both of these teams right now. Because the entire Peyton Manning era was just like, all right, let's get to the playoffs. That's when the season starts.
Yeah.
And it's a weird place to be because you enjoy the regular season, you have fun with it, but in the back of your mind, you just know like nothing about this team is going to be judged until we get to the playoffs, and that's how it was for all the years with Peyton.
Yeah. We talk about it on our show about the Dodgers, right? Like that's how it is with the Dodgers. The Dodgers regular season starts in October, and everything else before that is just try to stay healthy and get your guys ready for the month of October. And to have 2 teams like that, at least Broncos kind of sneaking their way in now, but 2 teams that you expect are going to be in the playoffs. It's just a matter of what seed, home ice, home court, like those are the variables. It's totally different.
Yeah, and looking at this upcoming playoffs and where the Nuggets and Avs sit, I feel like there's a lot more pressure on the Avs than there is the Nuggets for some reason. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I don't know if pressure is, we always want to get to the playoffs, and I kind of wanted to push back on that point a little bit. Not that I'm not thinking that in the back of my mind, But I heard Vic Lombardi say that on the radio this morning. Like, I just want to get the playoffs. And I audibly screamed no. Because I've told myself these past 2 years, enjoy the 30-point victories over the Sacramento Kings at 9 p.m. on a fucking Tuesday night. Like, enjoy that shit. Because in April, like, do I want to see 3 parades? Yes. But in April, we may be sitting with a sinking feeling of, oh, God, the Avs got goalied again in Game 7 and didn't make it. Or, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander hit a game-winning shot in Game 7 to not allow the Nuggets to go to the finals. And you're literally like, it's all over at that point. But right now, we can have this podcast and we can just talk about the excitement of it. So don't lose that. I'm just telling you, everybody out there, do not lose
Live in the moment.
how fun these regular seasons are, even though we all in the back of our minds are like, all right, well, the Nuggets and Avs. With the Broncos, it's still like, the NFL is insane. They could lose this weekend and then not make the playoffs. Like, that's how crazy it can get.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I just go back to Jokic. Like, as much as I love all the guys on these teams, Jokic, every time I watch him, I'm just like, one day this isn't gonna happen. And I'm gonna be so sad. Like, every Nuggets game is interesting to me because I just get to watch Nikola Jokic.
Yeah. It's a unicorn.
Yeah,
it's something you'll never see again.
It's going back to my son where I'm like, I want you to understand what this is. And he's never, like, by the time he gets to be old enough to legitimately understand what's going on, Jokic will be close to the end of his career.
Well, and think about us. Like, my first football memories are the Broncos winning the Super Bowl. Like, with John Elway.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was the same way. I just thought, like, okay, we just have the best quarterback and we just win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how
It's
it goes.
the Broncos. Yeah. I mean, same thing with me. I moved to Colorado and the Avs won the Stanley Cup like that. You know, I mean, it was just like, oh, this is what good NHL hockey is like. You know, I mean, I'm moving from a place that didn't have a hockey team when I was growing up. And so it's like, this is my team. And then they go and they win the Stanley Cup. And it sets the bar on that level. But yeah, you got to be in the moment. You got to enjoy it. We got to take our next break of the show. After the break, bold championship predictions. Get them in your head. For you guys watching at home, drop a comment in the Toyota chat. Let us know what your championship predictions are for this season, for the 2025-2026 season for this teams. We'll get to those coming up next. We'll want to give some huge love to our friends right now over at Coors Light, because Coors Light is my favorite light beer. And look, I absolutely love drinking Coors Light in the summer. It is a blast to go to Coors Field and drink a nice, cold, refreshing Coors Light up on the rooftop, hang out with the guys, and just have a good time. But, it's winter now, and we don't have baseball anymore. We don't get the rooftop Friday hangouts. But that doesn't mean you can't drink a nice, cold, refreshing Coors Light. Whether you're going to the DNVR bar to go watch the Nuggets or the Avs, or maybe the Broncos this Sunday at our watch party, or maybe you're going out to the games, you gotta enjoy an ice cold, refreshing Coors Light. Embrace that chill mindset, because there's no better way to enjoy sports in Colorado than paired with a cold, refreshing Coors Light. And I have one, every single time I'm watching a game, every single time I'm watching the Avs or the Nuggets or the Broncos. And so even though it's chilly outside, even though it's getting a little cooler, it still hits all the same. Coors Light is the best light beer. So make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Please celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, based in our backyard here in Golden, Colorado. Well, I also want to give some love to our friends at Christie Sports, because with winter right around the corner, that means ski season is right around the corner. And skiing, snowboarding, you got to have good gear when it comes to that kind of stuff. And you got to go use our friends at Christie Sports, because they are the perfect place to go rent skis, snowboards, ski equipment, whether you're getting boots, maybe you just need some new ski poles or a helmet, whatever you have. It's the best way to go. Are you guys going to be doing some skiing and snowboarding this off season?
I would love to. If I do, I'll go to Christie.
Okay, yeah.
I might make a trip or two up the mountain. I'm very needy when I go snowboarding. It has to be go up there Friday, a little bit on Saturday, a little bit on Sunday, have the whole weekend up there. I'm not like drive up on a Saturday morning, drive back on a Saturday night. So I'm very selective with my ski trips.
Fair weather skier.
Yes, very.
It's tough because like when this is the busy season for us, we're in football, basketball, hockey, like everything's happening right now, and so it's hard to make some of those ski trips. But with Christie Sports, I mean, they've got different rental plans that you can use. So if you're just going up for a day, maybe you got a day off, and you're like, I'm gonna go up to the mountain with some friends. You can go to Christie Sports and you can get that 1-day rental. Or if you're going for an actual trip, you can go with their 5-day rentals or 3-day rentals. They just have tons of options, and it's a really great place to get all of your seasonal rental perks when you go skiing or snowboarding. So get 20% off your season rentals when you book online at the link in the comments and use that code DNVR20. Must book season rentals online to get the discounts. Book by November 23rd, which is coming up. Outside is better with expert service and advice in every single store. All right, bold championship predictions. What are we thinking? We'll start with well, just give me in general. What do you think championship teams we might see here? What predictions do you have championship-wise this season?
Yeah, my bold prediction is that this whole podcast is going to be for naught because both the Avs and Nuggets are going to win the championship.
I would celebrate that, man. I would celebrate that. You already kind of had a bold prediction saying that you think the Broncos are the team to beat.
I'm doubling down. Their defense is going to go full psycho mode in the playoffs. 2015, I think we forget how bad and how inept that offense was. It feels a lot like some of the games this season during that year, and just how the defense, yes, there was more turnovers that year than there is this year, but I feel like with Pat Surtain healthy, with the safeties they have, the linebackers, the front seven is unbelievable. They have a chance to single-handedly win games. Not pretty. I watch Iowa football. I know what bad defensive running the ball, control the clock football looks like. I legitimately think the Denver Broncos defense could go nuts, win them 2 home games at Empower Field, Mile High, like a tough place to play in the playoffs. Nobody's done it in 10 years, and they will ride that to at least a Super Bowl appearance. I can't guarantee that once they get there and that the moment's not too big and they've never been there before, but if they can get the 1 seed, if we could fast forward and do this podcast and say, the Broncos have the 1 seed, the Avs have the 1 seed, and the Nuggets have the 1 seed, I feel immensely more confident in the Broncos at that point. Not than the other teams. It's still a very 33.3, 33. Like, I feel very much that way. But if the Broncos, you can guarantee me them the 1 seed or at least a home game in the playoffs, it changes the whole game.
I would love to give more flowers to the Broncos. And again, after Sunday, that tone might change, but I just don't know if, in my eyes, the Broncos can be considered a championship contender yet until they stomp on the Chiefs. If they do that on Sunday, I'll jump on your bandwagon. I will get on your bold prediction train because, as you just pointed out, I mean, the path to the Super Bowl, albeit not easy, is much more straightforward if you stomp on the Chiefs. And so I think for me, like, the biggest game of this season by far, it's not hyperbole to say, is on Sunday.
Totally. I mean, the opportunity, we're about to go do the Broncos podcast right after this, so tune in. And we're talking all about the opportunity.
Yeah.
The opportunity that exists for the Broncos this Sunday is the largest opportunity I can remember in a regular season game, going all the way back to the last time they won the Super Bowl. And it's to not only take your team to 9-2, it's to send the Chiefs to 5-5.
Yeah, that's wild.
The Chiefs aren't in the playoff picture as we're speaking right now. They are outside. This playoff started today. The Chiefs aren't playing. Mm-hmm. You can send them to 5-5 and make them fight for their playoff lives and be handily in 3rd place in the division with this game. It's one of those games where it almost scares me how much the Chiefs have to lose. Like, they're damn near playing an elimination game.
Yeah.
And they're going to be pulling out all the stops. So if you come out on top of that one, we get to start talking about the 1 seed.
It feels like a playoff game for me, and it's amazing. You go back to the point that you were making before the break, Spencer, about how you just got to soak up all these moments. The fact that we get a playoff type game for the Broncos here in Denver in the early stages of November, a game that could put you on the fast track towards the playoffs and a potential Super Bowl opportunity, and could, like you said, pretty much, tear out the Achilles of your biggest rival all in one go. It makes me a little nervous, I got to say. I mean, it definitely, I'm going to be waking up kind of jittery about the game, but it's also insane to think about.
It really is.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm pumped. I'm excited. We're gonna have tons of stuff going on at the DNVR bar. I mean, you guys are you? I'm sure you're gonna be going to the game. Are you guys both going to the game? You're not going to the game.
Pre-game, watch along, post-game.
All right, so
I will be at the game, and I'm already nervous, and it's Wednesday.
What do we? I know you're about to do the Broncos show, and so again, you'll get more analysis on the Broncos coming up here at noon. But just before you jump on that show, kind of give me a precursor to the show. What is your take? What do you make of the Chiefs? Because the Chiefs 5-4 right now. They've had some weird wins, some weird losses. You know, I mean, obviously you beat Detroit, which was a big win, but like I still don't know what to make of the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, there's a couple things to it. One is they didn't have their full group of weapons early in the season, and I think that hurt them a lot. Now they do have the crew back together, which makes them more dangerous. Two, one of the things that I just don't think anyone is talking about is like the Chiefs aren't getting younger.
Yeah.
They only just keep getting older. And so Travis Kelce and Chris Jones and even Patrick Mahomes, just father time is calling. And I think that is showing up a little bit this year. Like when you rely on magic as much as they do, I just think that it's going to run out as time, impacts your football team. So they rely on so much magic. Even watching that Bills Chiefs game, like they're converting 3rd and 4th and 17 with these crazy plays, and it's just like eventually that's going to run out. And I don't know if the Broncos win on Sunday, then I'm going to be saying it ran out. If they lose on Sunday, I'm going to say, okay, they still have a little bit of magic left in the tank.
Yeah.
And like they are the Super Bowl favorites right now.
At 5-4.
You go to Bet365, they are the Super Bowl favorites. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. Like, I'm terrified. I just talked about how good the Broncos are and how good their defense is, but there's an asterisk on this game a little bit. No Pat Surtain, J.K. Dobbins is not going to play.
Alex Singleton.
Alex Singleton's out. I mean, there's definitely an asterisk on this game from a Broncos fan that I'm already building in to figure out how I'm going to cope on Monday if that happens. But it's just one of those teams where I don't care what the score is. I feel like you can just never count them out. And that's what terrifies me.
But that's where it's just like you find a way to win this game, and there's no ceiling on what you can talk about with this team. Like if this pass rush and this defense goes out there and neutralizes Patrick Mahomes, then like
we're thinking soupy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like that's where we're at.
Yeah, no, it is funny, and I see a comment about Travis Kelce. Like he's the poster child to me of a player who's aging out. You watch Travis Kelce play, and you're like, oh man, it's just not the same. It's not the same.
The stats
team.
would say that it's still there.
It is. No, and you're right. It's just the eye test is weird sometimes when you watch him play. But again, it goes back to the whole point. You got a quarterback in Patrick Mahomes who's got Mahomes magic, and that's really what you're fighting against. But I compare it to the Nuggets, in the previous seasons where it felt like, yes, you've got, incredible players, Jokic obviously being at the forefront of that, but it still felt like you were hoping that some things kind of went in your favor that would allow you to overcome some of those issues going up against the Thunder and those type of teams. That's kind of where I'm at with the Chiefs, where I'm like, I feel like you're relying a lot on hope instead of just having the depth and the talent that you used to have. And that's a better place for the Broncos to be in going up against a team like that.
Yeah, and we saw... when you have that 2 weeks to game plan, we saw what the Eagles did to them with there's a formula to beat the Chiefs. I'm not saying everybody's got that formula, and I'm not saying it's an easy formula. You got to have the guys, you got to have the coaches, but there's a formula to beat them. And one of them is you also just can't beat yourself. So there's just got to hold on to the ball. There can't be turnovers galore this week. You can't be short fields. Like
penalties.
The magic you're talking about with the Chiefs is on a very much smaller scale what the Broncos have had this year. Like they've been just turning the ball over in bad spots, and then their defense stands up again. Like you can't. Like I watch Iowa football every Saturday. It's the same shit. You're just like I'm with the Broncos and the Hawkeyes right now. I'm more comfortable when my team's on defense, and that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like that is a truly messed up way to watch football. But I'm like, I feel like we have a better chance to pick six this guy, or fumble return for a touchdown, or turnover turns into a short field even with no first downs and a field goal, than I am the offense starting 1st and 10 at my own 25.
100%, man. 100%. Well, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff for this upcoming game. We've got tailgate coming up. You guys are going to be doing pre-game, watch-along, and post-game. It's an early afternoon game, right? It's
2:25.
2:25. Yep. So 2:25 start. So yeah, I'm excited. You got to get to the Broncos show.
Yes.
So dip out. Thank you for hanging out with us, man. This has been fun.
This was fun.
Been a good time. Good luck on the Broncos show. If you guys want to keep up with the Broncos action, be sure to head over to watch the Broncos show. It's going to be popping off here at about noon. They're going to have all the insight coming up, and it's a good time to be a Broncos fan right now, man.
It's a good time to just be a Denver sports fan. I'll keep saying
Just
it.
not a baseball fan.
No. The graphic that was posted, there's been some, Denver's getting a lot of love nationally, which is always my favorite thing. They're getting a lot of love nationally, and the graphic that was posted had the Broncos with their record and their defense, and then the Avs with their record currently, and the Nuggets with their record, and talking about championships, kind of like we are on this pod. And then it says Rockies won't lose for at least another 4 months. And I crossed that out and reposted it on my own and said, hired a new president of baseball operations. That is the meme of us looking out the window, the bus, and looking happily out the window, straight up at Paul DePodesta's face. And Rocky's going 43 and 119 is the other guy sitting on the other side of the bus.
I know. It is funny to think back though at the days of, when we were growing up, that the Rockies were actually, I don't know, the better team at times. You went to the World Series in 2007. It wasn't consistent, but it's a little sad to see them not only not being in the mix, but just being the worst team almost in the history of baseball. But we got to pause for our last break of the show. After the break, I'm going to name one thing that should be banned in sports, and I'm also going to be talking about one thing that we should see a lot more of coming up here when we come back. All right, back here on the Denver Sports Podcast. I appreciate you scooting a little closer to me here. Yeah. This is good. You didn't want to be yelling across the table.
No, exactly.
Okay. One thing that should be banned in sports, these 9 p.m. starts, man. We gotta figure this out. Why am I sitting there last night watching college basketball, doing all this other stuff, and the Nuggets game, it's 8:00, and the Nuggets game still has an hour before tip-off. And you said you stayed up and watched the whole game. I did not, because I had an early morning this morning. I just can't. I know there's no way to get around it, but man, it just kills me every time.
It definitely threw my day into a loop already. Today was definitely way different. Normally I alarm, gym early, didn't do any of that. Slept in this morning. My son woke up early. It woke me up early. I was just not in a good spot. But Denver, and I will pound my hand on the table for this. Denver is the best place to watch, the best time zone. The Mountain Time Zone is the best time zone to watch sports. When you think about the NFL, you got 11 a.m., 2:30, 6:30 Sunday night games. Most games at home, obviously, in all the cities start at 7. But like my brother, diehard Denver sports fan, moved to New Jersey. The Nuggets game started at 11:15 last night, where he was. He was like, if they get up by 20, I'm turning it off because I can't do this. But we constantly, because we are in a great time zone for most sports, but because we're in this weird in-between, we get hosed all the time where we get these West Coast games that are late, an hour later for us. And then we also, if you go back to the playoffs last year and we were talking about the Nuggets and Avs, they put game 7s on at the same fucking time.
I know.
How do these TV, like, in what world is that okay? It makes no sense. And I am talking about this as a diehard Denver sports fan. All four, like we talked about earlier, there's some people that love the Lakers and love the Dodgers, but also love the Broncos. Like, those people don't care about Denver. They just care about the Broncos. But the people that care about Denver and all the Denver sports, like, somebody make the games at the same time in the playoffs stop. Like,
it reminds me of, again, going back to baseball, when you have the playoffs and there's a 1:10 first pitch on a Tuesday for a playoff game. I'm like, and we were talking about this on our show, like, if the Rockies were in a playoff game and it was a 1:10 first pitch on a Tuesday, we'd call out from work. Obviously we work in sports, but like, if we had a normal job,
we'd be there.
We'd be there.
We'd be there no matter what.
We'd be there no matter what. But that still sucks. Like, it's the middle of the day on a weekday. Move the game towards the afternoon. It's just, it makes you want to pull your hair out sometimes. I get it. It's frustrating. But when you've got Nikola Jokic playing every single night like the Nuggets do, you got to tune in no matter what. You got to stay up. Don't be like me. Don't go to sleep early. I don't even have kids to make an excuse for it. I'm just lazy.
I was struggling though. Nuggets fourth quarter, I was like trying to keep eating snacks, which is not good at 11 p.m. But sure. I was just like doing anything I could to stay up through it, because that's the other thing that does kind of suck. And I'm not, and this is very much a first world problem, but we talked about it earlier. every game that the Avs and Nuggets play, I'm like, how many are they going to win by?
Yeah.
And so that almost makes it harder to watch the games all the way through when in the first quarter yesterday, now granted the Nuggets game did get close, but you just watch the game. If you watch basketball in your life, you just see there's clearly a better team here.
Yeah.
There's clearly a team that's going to blow the other team out or win comfortably. I think they won by 14 was the final score. And Jokic was sitting on the bench with his legs crossed for the last 6 minutes of the game, exactly how he wanted. Because if this parlays into a championship, he's got to be sitting. He's got to not play 40 minutes a game. But it does kind of take away the interest and the excitement level on a game-to-game basis. Then you drop it at 9-10 p.m. on a Tuesday night. You're like, whatever.
You're like, come on, man.
A Friday night, great.
Yeah.
I would love
totally.
to watch the Nuggets till midnight on a Friday night, but a Tuesday night, not the move.
Changes the game a little bit. Well, I said one thing that should be banned, and I also said I was going to name one thing that I would love to see more of. And we're talking about the Nuggets. Alyssa, if you could cue up that picture of their alternate court. Did you see their
So
new
good.
alternate court? Look at
love
this
it.
thing. That has to be one of my favorite court designs I've ever seen. The black trim with obviously the skyline, the rainbow skyline. And side note, the Nuggets skyline jerseys are my favorite. Maybe that's just a me thing. I know it's kind of mixed reviews, but this is a perfect alternate court in my eyes.
Well, you know what's funny about
Give
this?
me more.
The Nuggets, this is the only court. So they showed all, I believe, 30 NBA teams' courts. This is the only one of the non-NBA Cup courts. We know how insane those are.
Yeah.
This is the only City Edition court or whatever it's called that the Nuggets is gray and everybody else's is the standard brown. So I was stoked to see them do, like, all the other courts have the, you know, the cool middle part and all the different things on the outside, but the Nuggets went full gray, which looks awesome. I went to the game on last Friday night, the Cup game where the court was red. It definitely looks way worse on TV than it does in person, but the gray court is incredible. And I believe the Nuggets sold out of those Skyline jerseys yesterday, which I know they said that they were maybe different a little bit from dude, I've got 7 to 10 of the old Nuggets, the black Skyline jerseys that they released 7 or 8 years ago. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need another one.
Yeah.
I think I have Aaron Gordon, but I have a 50. I have Nikola Jokic one. I have 2 Murrays. Like I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, I feel bad for the people that didn't get them because of how quickly they sold out. But if you bought the jerseys 7, 8 years ago, because I'm kind of on a jersey strike right now, I'm not really buying anymore. And so I'm like, I've got this jersey already. I've got 5 of them.
Yeah, well, and it's a classic. It looks great. It you know, and I'm also of the opinion that the better the team is, the better you feel about the jerseys, right? Like it could be kind of an ugly jersey, and you could say, hey, well, if Jokic is wearing it, I want to get it, right? Like it's like the City Connects for the Rockies last year, where you know they were very mixed reviews. You had the bright blue sunset City Connects. I would 100% argue if the Rockies were a legitimate team, a playoff-oriented team, that the reactions from people would be a lot different. You give me, you know, a Cal Raleigh type player or an Aaron Judge type player on the Rockies wearing those City Connects, I think a lot more people get on board with it.
Well, look at like the Padres City Connects, like the very pink, disgusting jersey, but it almost plays because they're so good and because they're a consistent playoff team. That Rockies City Connect jersey hit so hard when Bretton Doyle hit that walk-off home run in August on Friday night. Like
or when Bo Nix throws out the first pitch and you see Bo Nix wearing the City Connect,
right,
you're like,
okay.
hell yeah, dude.
I mess with it. Yeah. Like the Nuggets going back, like we're in an era now and we're at an age where I don't think it was like this when we were kids. Jerseys are changing a lot more. Broncos changed their jerseys for the first time in I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
Teams are starting to change their jerseys. And literally all most of these teams have to do, go back to what you had. Like 90% of the time, going back to an old jersey style that you have is a win in the fan base's eyes. Anybody that's watching the game, the aesthetic of the game, the colors, just go back to what you had. And we're just running this back. We're officially old enough now to where throwbacks are like what we used to wear as kids, and now they're sick again. And all they're doing, go into the stores at Ball Arena or Coors Field. What sells the best with our generation? Shit that looks old.
Yeah.
How many
the vintage
stores
and,
are there on Broadway or this and that? I walk in, see anything orange, anything Broncos. They could have been a giveaway at a Broncos game in 1989. I'm like, this is sick. I'm taking this.
I know. No, the Broncos throwback jerseys are by far, and that actually the Broncos throwback jerseys. It's like the most unanimous I've seen people celebrate a jersey. Because jerseys, I've had D-Line on the show to talk about jersey designs before, and he's like, you know, art just divides people. Some people agree, some people disagree. Like it's meant to cause that and create that discussion. I don't think I've seen a single person outside of my mom, who's a Seahawks fan, say that they don't like the throwback jerseys.
Well, shout out to the Seahawks throwback is about the Seahawks and Broncos throwbacks are in their own tier of throwback jerseys of all time.
And the Seahawks coming from having some of the worst jerseys I've ever seen with the lime action green.
Yeah. When they went to that, it was like, oh, this is so cool and modern. And now we've made it all the way around that circle. We're like, just give me those fucking silver helmets and that blue and that green. Those things
I want to see Matt Hasselbeck running out there.
Sean Alexander.
Sean
like
Alexander.
That shit is so, those jerseys, Broncos and Seahawks, 2 top tier throwbacks in all of sports.
It's again why, and we had talked about this earlier before the City Connects for the Rockies were announced. You and I think we're both on the same page, along with a lot of other fans. If the Rockies had brought back the black cutoff as their City Connect, if they had done, the retro black cutoff jerseys
with the big mountain on it.
Oh my God, I would have bought 3 of those. That would have been so cool. It's just something about the nostalgia of especially for a team like the Rockies who are bad right now, that you go back and you say, hey, back in 2007 when they were wearing these jerseys, you see Todd Helton, back in the day, the old Blake Street Bombers wearing the cutoffs, and that those are great memories for Denver sports fans. And so you can remember that. I'm looking at a picture of John Elway wearing the old retro, I guess at the time it was their current jerseys, but the bright orange Broncos jerseys. And it can it transports you back to those days when you were like, man, it's going to be Sawyer, your kid one day, looking back and, seeing the Nuggets skyline jerseys and trying to remember what Jokic in his prime was like. Yeah.
And just like I said earlier about being in the moment with these teams right now, I'm also very in the moment with jerseys and courts, all of these things that teams are doing now, changing the courts, doing NBA Cup, everyone's like, oh, it's stupid, they don't need to do that. It's fun. It's different.
Why not?
Who cares? I am stoked to watch the Nuggets play on this gray and black court. This is going to be sick. Yeah. And it's going to look sick on TV, and they're going to wear those black jerseys with it. It's going to be incredible. Yeah. Just enjoy it. Enjoy stuff.
For me, it's just a why not? Why not? It doesn't take away from the game to me. You're still playing the game. You're still going out there. It's the NBA Cup discussion. It's giving you something to compete with when there's kind of meaningless basketball happening. Nuggets aren't making or breaking their season right now. So, throw a little tournament in the middle in there. And it doesn't let it get creative. Let it get weird. Let us all hate on LeBron James for winning it and, he's celebrating it like it's another championship, right? It's just dumb. It just gives you something to talk about. But to me, it doesn't take away from the game. And in my opinion, I think it actually adds a little bit of I don't know, interest to the game.
It gets people
the
talking
Four Nations
about it.
last year was incredible.
Right, yeah. It gets people talking about a sport or... even if it's bad, the Timberwolves court, if anybody saw that, it was terrible.
God, yeah.
But how many people were talking about it? That's the point. People that are constantly oh, I just want things to stay the same way forever, and I want the Nuggets to wear their, light blue, which are their light blues were sick, the powder blues. But dude, things change, and you're either on board with the changes and you ride with them and ride with your teams and their jerseys and their courts and their fields. Or you're just a curmudgeon. You're just a get off my lawn guy.
And to circle all the way back to our topic of this show, I think the reason that the teams that we have here in Colorado have gotten to the place that they're in, where we're talking about 3 possible championships for 3 out of the 4 biggest teams, is because these teams embrace the change. The Nuggets said we're not willing to stick with what's been working, but also not working, and we're going to fire Coach Malone. We're going to fire, our general manager. We're going to bring in 2 people to kind of co-manage the front office. The Avs have been very aggressive in free agent signings and trades and making all these deals, extending players like that. The Broncos, same thing, with Sean Payton and the Penners and all of these kind of things. You see successful teams are willing to adapt, are willing to change. And all 3 of these teams are now finally starting to reap the benefits of being aggressive in their changes. And to go back again to the Rockies, the Rockies are finally, after almost a decade of being, one of the worst teams in baseball, are finally starting to make some kind of out of the box changes. Whether they pay off or not is still years from being determined. But we're starting to see that play out for the Nuggets, the Avs, and the Broncos, and it just looks so good.
Yeah, the aggressiveness of these teams, like you mentioned, the Avs last year literally flipped their entire goalie room in November. How many teams with these kind of aspirations and at this level will that's like trading for a different quarterback when your team, that's like the Broncos right now trading for a different quarterback and putting him in at 8-2. You have expectations. You're most likely going to make the playoffs. You have a shot to win it all. And you're changing one of the biggest positions. Nuggets firing their coach 3 days before the playoffs, where a couple shots go different ways in that Thunder series. They might be the NBA champions right now. We might be talking about a back-to-back type of season. And when things don't work out, you need to make those changes and be willing to be aggressive or go outside the box and change something, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting it to work. And I feel like although we're back on the upswing, and we kind of have been with the Avs and Nugs the last 2 years, there was a little bit of that, hey, we're rolling with the same thing into the playoffs again. Oh, we lost again. Why? What happened?
Yeah.
That's what happens.
I know. A lot of expectations for these two teams. We're running out of time here, so we're going to wrap things up on the show. But this has been fun. We've got 3 championship contending teams in Colorado. This is not going to be the last time we talk about this. Our TDSP show is going to be happening every Wednesday at 11 a.m. unless we get a guest that we have to change things around. But every Wednesday at 11 a.m. So be sure to tune in next week. We're going to be talking more Nuggets, more Avs, more Broncos, all the good stuff. Shout out to RK. Shout out to Spence for jumping on with us. We'll see you guys next time on the Denver Sports Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.